Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at when we have a couple of different angles in a conversation, in one scene, how exactly do we cut that and how exactly do we arrange that so that it works? Okay? So typically what you'll have when you actually film is if you have a conversation between two people or two different sets of people, you usually have 2 to 3 different angles. In our example that we have right here, we have 2 different angles. We have the angle of the bullies right here, and then we have the angles of Howard. Okay? In yours, you might have what's called an establishing shot, which is a wide shot where we see both people, and then you might have over one person's shoulder and then over the other person's shoulder to have 3 different angles. But for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to do this tutorial with these 2 different angles, okay? So there's 3 lines here that I'm going to cut just for an example so you can see how this works. You're not going to be able to hear the audio all that well. I'm going to turn up the audio as much as I can, but really it's hard to hear. The dialogue basically goes like this. Sarah, who's the bully number 1 right here, has all the dialogue. She says, "Howard D. Baggins, you were wrong." Yes, his name is Howard D. Baggins. She says, "Howard D. Baggins, you were wrong." He says, "What?" She said, "I copied off of you for this test, and I failed it." Okay? So, you see we've got, I've already cut a little bit right here, and she says that Howard D. Baggins, you were wrong right here, and then she messed up. So I made a little cut, and I deleted what was in between this clip and this clip right here. This is where she says, I copied off of you for this test, and I failed it. And you'll hear Mitchell, who plays Howard right here. He will say what, because he's holding the camera right here. He'll say what. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to get a clip of him, this angle of him saying what, and then we're going to go back to her saying, "I copied off of you for this test and I failed it." So let's just play it at first to be able to see kind of what it looks like right now. You'll see when we go in between these 2 little clips right here, there's kind of a little bit of a bump in the video because there's stuff that's missing, okay, which is why really I want to go to this other angle, because it looks funny otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to press play. Okay, so you can see that there was kind of like a little bit of a bump in there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this clip until he says what. Okay, so I'm going to play it. Okay, and she just said, "Howard D. Baggins, you were wrong." I'm going to split the clip now. I'm going to erase that part where she says, "Howard D. Baggins, you were wrong," because we're going to use this clip for when she says that, so I'm just going to delete that. And I'm just going to cut this enough for him to say what, okay? So let's play it. Okay, there he goes. He just said what. So now I have this little clip of him saying what right here, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this clip in between these 2 clips. However, there's still a problem because in this clip, she says, "Howard D. Baggins, you were wrong," and Mitchell says what right about in here in this clip. So I have to cut that out so he doesn't say what twice. Okay, so I'm going to go right here and I'm going to play it. Okay, so there's where he said what. Let's go back a little bit here. Oh, okay, there she just said, "You were wrong." I'm going to flip the clip, and then I'm going to delete this little part where he said what. And now it should work perfectly. So let's play it. And there we go. We've got all 3 angles, or excuse me, those 2 angles. And it's a little bit more of a dynamic cut right there. And that is how you cut a conversation to be able to have a couple different angles and have it run smoothly.